This audiovisual production is based on the book Rewilded, Saving the South China Tiger by Li Quan, published by Beijing Publishers, part of the Beijing Publishing Group. Chapter 1, Part 2, Diary by Li Quan, Tiger Woods and Madonna's Adventurous Journey. Tiger Woods, born on the 9th of March 2004 in Shanghai Zoo. Madonna, born on the 20th of April 2004 in Shanghai Zoo. This section of the diary covers the period from October 29 to November 6, 2004. It did not take long to get Tiger Woods and Madonna into the purpose-made transportation crates at Beijing Zoo and loaded into a truck ready for the airport. However, being confined prompted them to growling, roaring and throwing themselves against the sides of the crates. The Cathay Pacific flight was scheduled for 7:50 on the 29th of October. Representatives of the cargo handling agent gave the Cubs priority transit. The Cubs, especially Tiger Woods, were not very appreciative. He roared and was unsettled. Tiger Woods and Madonna were mother-reared at Shanghai Zoo and had very little contact with humans. In fact, when they first arrived in Beijing Zoo for quarantine on the 27th of September, any sight of humans would cause them to hiss, roar and jump up and down. They calmed down somewhat during the month of quarantine. The flight arrived in Hong Kong around noon. The connecting flight to Johannesburg was at 23:45 that evening. The Cubs were taken into the cargo area for animals. We barely managed to put some water into the two small water tanks in their crates before the flight was due to depart, only to discover that Tiger Woods had bitten a hole in one of the iron tanks and it was now leaking. Nothing could stop me worrying during the long 14-hour flight. As we landed in Johannesburg, I phoned our South African team on standby and waiting for the state vet to check all the required documentation for the Cubs importation. I was greatly relieved when they said they had now seen the Cubs. It was a long wait for the Cubs to be cleared through customs. The vet was, first of all, late. When he finally arrived, he said that the Chinese veterinary certificates did not specify that the Cubs were treated with heartworms, even though this document was exactly the same as last year's and we had no problem getting Cathay and Hope through customs then. However, this vet refused to sign the approval paper to let the Cubs into the country, unless we gave the Cubs another heartworm injection. But he himself would not do the injection, and on a Saturday it would not be easy to find a vet. I couldn't let the Cubs stay another day in the crates. Petri Viljoen, executive director of our South African operation, deployed his magic immediately. After about an hour he managed to find the deputy director of the state vet department, Richard. We and the Cubs took off in my friend Eddie Kaizen's private caravan at 12:15 for Lauhu Valley Reserve in Philippolis Free State. The Cubs were taken to the 200 square meters quarantine camp where Chinese Ambassador Lu Guijin had been waiting. As soon as the crate door was opened, Madonna dashed out running along one side of the camp like mad. She must have felt disoriented, having never been outside a cage larger than a few square meters. She stood up at one corner of the fence and having failed in her attempt to climb, she ran along another side to the far corner. Tiger Woods on the other hand refused to come out of the cage, not until we had all left. A couple of hours later, Tiger Woods was seen lying with his belly up and rolling on the ground, enjoying the African sun. What a great relief it was to see both Cubs now in their new spacious home. The Cubs did not seem to know the damage the strong African sun could do and did not want to move under the shelter. The beef left for them was eaten, to our delight. On the 3rd of November Madonna started vomiting. Her body was shaking and she could barely lift herself up. She had all the symptoms of dehydration. I pushed a bowl of water next to her face, but she did not have the energy to notice it. I pushed the water bowl right under her mouth so she could just lower her jaw to reach the water. She then drank and drank, in tiny sips. The vet could only come the next day. My team spent the night guarding her in turn. The next morning, she looked a lot better but still shaky. Whenever I pushed the water bowl under her nose she would drink. She seemed to know, however, that we were responsible for making her feel better today, so when I lifted up her paw to examine her wounds we had spotted in between her fingernails, she did not complain at all. She also gave me a typical friendly tiger chuff, for the first time ever. As if to thank me, her back touched my legs when she walked by. When I couldn't resist touching her back, not only did she not mind, but she also chuffed back at me. What a change in her attitude. The vet team came in the afternoon. We didn't want to use anesthesia or sedatives on a weak Madonna, so we caught her with a blanket. We held her legs and arms. Her jaws were tied together with a wide cloth ribbon to prevent her from biting us. Her eyes were covered with a blanket so she could not see the movements surrounding her. She did not seem to struggle at all. The vet Gavin dripped a liter of liquid into her stomach and treated her damaged teeth and infected fingernails. After Madonna's treatment was over, we took the cloth ribbon off her mouth, relaxed our grasp and backed off to one side of her. However, Madonna may have enjoyed the attention that she simply would not move. When we pulled the blanket off her eyes, she looked surprised and held the blanket with her teeth. When she turned her head around and saw us humans standing behind her, she decided to stand up and then walked away without any hurry, and as if nothing had happened. By the 5th of November morning, Madonna had only eaten a cup of raw egg and meat mixture, while Tiger Woods had been eating both his and her share of lamb and beef. We scratched our brains to find things she could eat, as the medicine can only be taken with food. We failed miserably. Finally, our reserve manager Peter decided to shoot a wild rabbit for Tiger Woods to prevent him from eating Madonna's food, which he was doing only so happily. Peter said to me when he got the first wild rabbit, "Just watch, Tiger Woods would be a different tiger now when he gets his wild rabbit." We threw the rabbit at Tiger Woods and he grabbed it as if he had caught the rabbit himself and immediately began eating it as if this was not his first ever game. Madonna showed no interests in her chicken soup but got up instead to walk over to Tiger Woods, chuffing at him. Tiger Woods growled at Madonna. Somehow the wild rabbit triggered Tiger Woods' wild instinct. Madonna returned to her old position. We felt sorry for Madonna. Peter decided to hunt another rabbit to give to Madonna. For some reason we were a lot luckier tonight than this morning. We arrived back with a spring hare for Tiger Woods and a rabbit for Madonna. We threw the wild rabbit at Madonna and she attempted to bite the rabbit but gave up very quickly. We weren't sure if this was hurting her teeth and Peter regretted that he had not cut it open for her. We used a stick to get it away from her, but it took quite a bit of struggle as she hung onto it. Meanwhile, Tiger Woods had finished his wild rabbit completely, and to prevent him from stealing from Madonna we threw him the spring hare. We also decided to either get the vet over again or fetch some injectable antibiotics from him, as we failed to administer any medicine. Next morning the second rabbit had disappeared and we believed Tiger Woods had eaten it. The spring hare was untouched. Madonna again had diarrhea and appeared weak. Peter arrived back with liquid antibiotics and a dart gun. The second antibiotic-charged shot went into Madonna's hip successfully. At 7 p.m., to our surprise and relief, Madonna ate a big piece of boneless meat. This lightened our mood. Peter got a very big hare, sliced it open and threw it at Madonna. She started feeding on the carcass immediately. Tiger Woods moved towards her, crouching, and tempted to steal the hare from her. Whenever Peter shone the torch at him he would freeze in position. Madonna finished most of the hare and went over to chuff at Tiger Woods, and he jumped at this opportunity to finish off the remains in no time. I was thrilled at Madonna's progress and praying that she recovers quickly and starts her difficult rewilding training soon.